that can't join. So good evening, everyone. We want to welcome you here tonight to the Keep Punching University Zoom. This is done each and every Monday night at this time, 6 p.m. Central. And this is a Zoom or conference call that's been going on for almost 34 years now, every Monday night, except for an occasional holiday. And I'm excited about who we have on here tonight. My name is Dany Martin. I am originating this evening from the Baton Rouge, Louisiana area. And I have someone on that I'm going to talk to and kind of interview here a little bit that I consider a friend. I could give you the big, long bio and all these accomplishments, but I just want to kind of speak of what I know about Jeanette Votruba and before we bring her on. I know that she's married to George, who's a great guy. I consider him a really good friend as well. They reside in the St. Louis area, although they do have a beach home on the Florida coast up in Panama City, Pensacola, out in that area. So they kind of live the good life back and forth. They've been married 41 years, long time. And they have 3 grown children and 10 grandchildren. And I want Jeanette to tell us in just a moment, a little bit prior to her joining the Juice Plus company, what she did and a little bit about her background. But I know that she was a licensed cosmetologist at one time. I know she's a mom, obviously, and she actually owned an aerobic studio at one time. And I've been to George and Jeanette, their home in the St. Louis area. I was, fortunate enough to visit them, and they just love life and love doing things. And I know, Jeanette, she loves the grandkids and loves hanging out and playing with the grandkids and all that. But she likes to play pickleball. She loves dancing and all these other things. In fact, while I was there on one of my trips to St. Louis, they were gracious enough to host me at a St. Louis Cardinals baseball game. And we had a great time. And at that time, it was a new stadium that they had there. We got to sit kind of like behind home plate. I don't know, man, the connections they have is awesome. But it was really a fun night and a fun time. And Jeanette joined the Juice Plus business, and it's kind of become a family business. That's something else I'm going to ask you about, Jeanette, and let you talk about a little bit as well, because her daughter-in-law, and I know her daughter's been involved. But here's something I usually try to throw this in when I get the chance to interview people, is what is something maybe most of you may not know about Jeanette Votruba? And here's what we came up with. In her, mind and in her wishes, if you could make a wish and this and that, she really would like to be a bodybuilder. Now, can you imagine that? That's kind of what, her dream is. So Jeanette, welcome this evening to our Zoom here. Thank you so much for taking time out of your little beach trip there and joining us this evening.
Well, I'm thrilled to be here. 34 years and I finally get asked. So thank you.
Yeah, I guess that's true, but we love having you on here. Tell me, I said a little bit about your background prior to you joining the Juice Plus company. Would you maybe elaborate a little bit on that, where maybe you were raised or school or whatever you'd like to share with the folks?
Sure.
We'd just like to get to know you a little bit more personally.
Yeah, I have lived my whole life in St. Louis, grew up there. I was actually born in Panama City, so here I am back where I was born, but we only lived there a few months. My dad was in the Air Force, but I've lived my whole life in St. Louis. I did wind up marrying someone from my high school, even though I didn't know him in high school. He's a few years older than me, George. But I went to college for 2 years and it just really wasn't for me. So I wound up working and getting married. And then I decided before I wanted children, I really wanted to go to cosmetology school. I loved helping people look better. And so I thought that would be my passion. So I went to cosmetology school, but shortly after I graduated and started working, I was pregnant. And so once our son Mitch came, then I never really worked again. So I've cut lots and lots of hair, but I've never, really very little did I even really work in a salon. So I was a stay-at-home mom, and a couple years later, I had an opportunity to rent a space, and was a cheerleader, and I always loved exercise and fitness, and I thought, well, I could run an aerobic studio, and so that's what I did. We opened an aerobic studio, and little did I know what it was like to really own a brick and mortar. So here I was, mixing the music and paying all the bills and doing the taxes and doing babysitting and teaching classes and scrubbing toilets. And, I was doing everything. So after a couple of years of that, even though it was successful and the classes were always packed, I was really making no money at the end of the day. By the time you pay everybody, you pay yourself last. So my story, reason for telling that story is everything that's gotten me to that point and to this point has not been wasted. So everything that I did, going to college, going to cosmetology school, and starting an aerobic studio, my own brick and mortar, really brought me up to when I first heard about Juice Plus. And I just want you to know, whatever your story is, whatever your background is, none of it's wasted. Okay. It's all being used and leading you up to what's coming for your future. And so that's kind of what happened to me. After that aerobic studio, I was still really into fitness, but I sold it. And it was years later that I heard about Juice Plus.
Well, awesome. Now, I know you heard about or joined the Juice Plus company around 2001. How did you first hear about the product Juice Plus? Or I'm assuming you heard about the product, started taking it. How did that kind of unfold?
So I got my hair cut, and this sweet girl cut my hair for the first time, had some bottles sitting there. And I said, now what's that? And she said, oh, I don't really know what it is. And well, then that made me more interested. So I said, well, what do you mean you don't know what it is? Tell me more. And she said, well, it's like a salad bar in a capsule, but you should really listen to this CD. And she gave me a CD by Dr. Richard Du Bois. I listened to it on my way home, and I thought, this sounds exactly like my grandmother. My grandmother used to tell me all the time, Velveeta's not cheese, and nobody eats enough fruits and vegetables. And I had heard a message like this prior, and we had bought the $500 juicer. And, Georgia Bot had a heart attack when I said, we bought this juicer, we have to have it, And so anyway, we had tried the juicing thing, and that juicer obviously got put away. And so then when I heard about Juice Plus from Dr. Richard Du Bois, I could not believe what I was hearing. And the minute I got home, I called her and I said, I want some. And she said, somewhat. And I said, I want the Juice Plus. So I just want to let you people know, if anybody calls you back, they are going to be a partner with you. And what I had heard on that CD, I thought, I couldn't believe my ears. Our son was on 7 prescriptions, and I never put the two together like Juice Plus would help him. I just knew we didn't eat enough fruits and vegetables. But lo and behold, it was an absolute miracle for him. So I'm not exaggerating. He got off all 7 prescriptions for asthma, allergies, eczema, and vitiligo. And I at that moment, she said, well, you might as well become a partner. It's $52 and you get you can make some money back. And I always like bargains. So I was like, okay, I'm in. That's it. So then, the story started unfolding. So I became a partner and a customer at the exact same time.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, I was going to ask you about joining the business or whatever, and doing that. So if I'm understanding you right, the message we don't want to get out is when someone asks, what's that? Don't say, I don't know. And if they call you, send them something. How easy were you?
Yeah, but that's just it. You never know who's ready, right? Who's ready. And bless her heart. After that, everything went great. But I will say, if you're ready to just show it and have it out there, if she hadn't had it out there, I don't know where I'd be today.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's a saying, that you can't say the right thing to the wrong person or the wrong thing to the right person. And you
Right.
just happen to be the right person come along there. That's good. Now, as far as the business part, okay, so all right, you decided to become a partner, join the business. Was it did you have this big vision? Because Jeanette, I know, and if you on here and you don't know this, Jeanette holds the highest position worldwide in our company around the world. So she's been extremely successful in our business. But at that time, was it just maybe to get it at a better price, or did you have this vision of building this business long term, or what kind of got your interest there, or how did that evolve?
Well, this is what I did. I listened to Dr. Richard Du Bois over and over again. Then I listened to Mitra Ray. Then I listened to Paul Williams. Then I listened. I listened to everything I possibly could. Then I listened to Jim Rohn and Robert Kiyosaki. And I mean, I just immersed myself in everything that I could possibly listen to about this industry and about Juice Plus. And in my very first month, I joined right in the beginning of 2001. And that very next month, I got 54 preferred customers. And I just knew that this was going to be everywhere. And I think my passion came from listening, and I was just like a parrot, and I tried not to explain it, but I shared those CDs and those DVDs, and I always had to get them back. So that's a perfect reason to follow up. You got to get them back. Now we don't have to get them back, so it's harder to follow up. But I was on fire. I was excited about Juice Plus. I'm telling you that. Now I didn't know that much about the business, and I didn't talk about the business, but man, oh man, I was excited about Juice Plus.
Well, if you got 54 customers, I'm going to guess you talked to more than 54 people.
Absolutely. One of them was the pharmacist that I was getting all the prescriptions filled from. So I mean, I talked to everybody, exactly. I probably talked to 150. I had a
Oh,
bunch of
wow.
supporters, were family and friends, people that were going to do it anyway. But yeah, and the company also had an incentive. So it was $1,000 for someone who got the most customers. So I thought, I'm going to win that because I'm competitive.
Absolutely. So just talking to a lot of people, I think sometimes, Jeanette, we find that when we are new and young in the business and we don't know a lot, then we can't talk a lot. And we let the, like you said, the DVD or now a link, you can send somebody a video link, we let it kind of do the presentation for us. And it seems like, though, sometimes after we get to know a lot, we start talking more. I don't know if that's as successful or not. Now, you've built to this top position in the company. What would you say if there's a couple of points that would contribute to being able to build a very successful business with Juice Plus? What maybe some key points that the folks watching us now could take note on?
Well, I would say be very proud and grateful for as far as you've come. Okay, so people always want to look at what they haven't done, but I say look at how far you have come. Have a I don't want to just say positive mindset. I mean, have an ultra positive mindset. Like everything is going to work out. You are connected now to the greatest company in the world solving one of our biggest problems in the entire world. And when you have a big problem, something that solves a really big problem, then you can make a lot of money. And then I also really just thought about other people. How many people talk about their health and their finances? I'm like, here's my market, everybody. So, and there's just, you don't need everybody, but it is just so exciting to think that we have something that's consumable. These are the things I kept telling myself. It's consumable. When they get to the bottom of a bottle, they need another bottle. Everyone can use it, womb to tomb. And it's backed by more research than anything else out there. And then anyone can do this business. If you can talk to someone, if you can share a CD, well, back then, but now a link, I mean, this is possible for anyone, and they can do a little or they can do a lot. And that really probably was the biggest, I think, encouragement to me, is that I didn't need to have a college degree. I didn't need to be a nutritionist. I didn't need to rent a building. I didn't need to have employees. This company had done all the work. And these are kind of things that I told my people. The company's done all the work. We don't need to figure out the product, or all we do is share it with people. And if they're ready, and we keep dripping. I don't know if that exactly answered your question, but it, to me, was such a no-brainer. Like, the light came on and the light didn't go off. I just got it.
Yeah, well, I think you said a lot when you said you talked to 150 people or something and to get those 54 initial customers. It's just, consistency in doing that. Now, I love your husband, George. He's such a great guy, and I know he's a great support for you. And I remember when I was in your home many years ago, meeting Tori, your daughter, and now you have a daughter-in-law, Allie, that works with you guys as well. How has that been working as I guess, a family type business? I'm sure they didn't all jump on board right away, because I remember Tori, I don't know how old she would have been when you started with the business, but I remember her as a little girl.
Yeah.
And now she's a mom,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's been a few years. But
Yeah.
what have they contributed, or how has that worked for you and you guys and working with family?
Well, it has been probably the biggest blessing. I have so many moms out there that ask, how did you do that? I want my daughter to do this. Well, I started bringing her to conference when she was 11 years old. So my whole family came to our first conference in San Diego right after I had joined. We went. I said, it's spring break, let's go. And so she came when she was 11. And when she turned 18, she said, this is really all I ever wanted to do, is be a mom and be, a Juice Plus partner. And I want to make it to the top of the company. So anyway, she went to college and then got married. And then after her second child, she was like, okay, I literally have a Ferrari in the garage and I'm not even driving it. So it's time. And she went to the top of the company, and now she is a PMD, about ready to deliver her sixth baby in about 2 or 3 days. And then our daughter-in-law, Allie, she was a nurse by trade, and she has a funny story, thought I was kind of cuckoo, what can this, I like the boy, but what can his mom really teach me about health, So anyway, she just has a great lecture now, Dany Votruba, and she's one of our favorites in St. Louis. And she's very close to being a QNMD, and and they've been able to stay home with their babies, So Allie was able to step away from nursing. George has been an amazing support. I know not all wives can say that, but you hear it all the time. Get the paycheck up and the husband will start paying attention. But he was a big support from the very beginning. He could see how passionate I was, and he's been along, and we've had nothing but fun for 23 years. I can tell you that.
Yeah. Now, so Tori was, for those out there that maybe young moms or have children. So she was a young mom and building this business, right? She had little ones around.
Yeah. Yeah. She had two babies, and then by the time she was pregnant with her third, she in 1 year she made it to national marketing director, from sales coordinator. So she was committed for that year, and has been ever since. But what is so awesome is that we have a family business that not only changes the future health of generations, but also wealth. And these kids seeing that you can build something, and you can do something, and you can do so much more than you thought you could do. So it's just a blessing, the health and the wealth, and we have so much, we have so much fun. We travel together, and then you can write it off. It just doesn't get any better.
That's awesome. That is so awesome. And you do have a great family. I'm fortunate enough to say I know them, and I know you guys. So I know that 22, 23 years that you've been with the company. You've had to have some challenges along the way. It can't have all been, just perfect and
Right.
54 customers every month,
No, 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 no,
So if you
no.
had maybe a couple of big, challenges out there, what would you say those would be, and how would you overcome them? Because I have found, Jeanette, most time if I've had an issue or I had something that was an obstacle put in front of me, there's many other people had the same obstacle. So maybe some people can learn from some of the things that you have, gone through
Yeah.
along the way.
I would say the biggest obstacle still to this day, and it certainly is in the very beginning, is having to hear the word no. And how do you react to that? And how do you overcome that? And how do you get back up on that horse? So this is what I used to do. It's a funny little story, but it happened all the time in the beginning. Um, and I still now today, when you hear someone that might say something or bring you down a little bit, say no, uh, whatever. This is what I used to do. I would get in my van, and the kids would be in the van, and I would put in a CD. And I would talk to myself. First of all, they'd say, "Mom, do we have to listen to Dr. Du Bois again?" And I would say, "Yes, we're listening again because this is our future and we are in this together." Okay. So we're listening and we're learning. And I would talk to myself. And every time I listened to Dr. Mitra Ray, I would say, "That's why I'm going to keep sharing." Yep. That's why I'm going to keep sharing. That's why I'm going to keep sharing. You cannot let people rain on your parade because they just don't know what you know. I mean, I'd listened, to 100 different times to different CDs and in my car. They didn't know that. So I felt like I needed to feed myself again and get that negative thinking out of my head. And that's how I did it. And the same thing for the business. If someone would want to shoot down the business, I thought, oh, they don't know this is the greatest thing in the world, but they just don't know it. So I'd put in a Jim Rohn, I'd put in a Robert Kiyosaki. And I think that's the biggest obstacle is just getting shot down. And being able to have to pull yourself back up. But it's really nice because in the aerobic studio, I had employee like issues and so many obstacles. So this just seems, so minor. We have very few personality obstacles. Those people tend to weed themselves out. It's like life, up and down, and there might be a low time, there's going to be a high time. You just have to know you keep pushing, you keep going.
Yeah, that's great advice. Really great advice. So you just filled your mind with positive
Yep,
stuff.
you have to.
And just push the negative out. That's great.
You have
Now,
to.
in closing here, I know we've talked about you being a mom, building the business, and now Tori, Allie, and I know you've worked with many moms out there. And I don't want to just focus on moms necessarily, but we have those busy moms out there and they trying to figure out how they can incorporate this in or possibly have a business with Juice Plus. What advice would you have specifically for them?
Well, I would say when you're in those years where you have the children, I'm just going to tell you, those are the greatest years to build. Because with the Children's Health Study, that's what grew, well, now it's called Healthy Starts, but that is what grew my business. And my kids were 14, 11, and 7. So, they weren't babies. But let me tell you, every soccer meet, every soccer match, every swim meet, every, sitting with other parents, watching the baseball games, watching the basketball games, giving out the gummy samples. You cannot beat that Healthy Starts for families. And I would share the gummies, start a conversation. I would say also, put up a boundary, even if it's just 3 half-hour slots or something like that, and protect that time to build your future. I like to call it the magic hour. If you work at this business for an hour, you get paid on that hour over and over and over again. Okay, so it's not trading time for dollars. And it's certainly not, it's building your own business, building your own future. And it's such an awesome time to be building, because moms want to know what's the best thing they can do for their family. So number one, I would say, do all you can to get in mom groups, meet moms, show them how you give those babies those capsules, share the gummies, talk to them, be ready to have an event, share with them. I wrote down some other things here, but just do three-way calls with other moms, get them on, do events, have the babies over, be ready to tell your story. Think about the future. Think about, have a really big vision, and always tell yourself a positive story. You have something that can help these moms. I've heard many moms on my team say it's the greatest tool that they have in their mom toolbox. So now is the time to talk to those moms.
Absolutely. That's tremendous advice, from the standpoint that we really get paid to share information with people. And the more people you're around, and I think the point you made there, which was really good, Jeanette, was the fact that, when you're a young mom, it puts you around people,
Yes.
whether it's preschool, daycare, sporting events or whatever. And when they grow up and kind of get on their own, then
Yep.
you have to be a little bit more creative to get around people. And I think sometimes, maybe the young moms may use it as an excuse that they're very busy, whereas it's really a great opportunity. That's just solid gold advice there. And I knew you would have some answer to that question because you've lived it in doing that. So we're going to close here. Is there any other comments or anything that you'd like to share, Jeanette, in closing? I'm done with my questions. I'll let you kind of finish this up here.
Yeah, I have so much I could say, and I know we're trying to keep this to a certain, but really doing three-way calls, having your own events. Like, if you want to be in charge of your paycheck, you need to start having the events, or be creative, meet at a park, do whatever you can. But don't wait for someone to have an event for you, okay? Because you're giving your power and your paycheck to somebody else. Well, when she has an event, then I'll build for that. But, it doesn't matter how good or how bad you are at doing an event, you're going to get better. Travis says, do a presentation and get better at it. And that is, to me, number one, just hosting and having events and having people there and showing up to everything you can, immersing your mind in the goodness of Juice Plus, realizing that, you never know who you're going to talk to next. You never know who's going to be your next national marketing director. And really just be grateful for what you have. What else do I have here? Think about changing generations with health and wealth, and keeping it fun. Keeping it fun. That is the main thing we do on our team. We always have fun. I'd say listen to Travis. The call you guys had with Travis last week, I've listened to him already 3 times. He is a rock star. We have got the best of the best at the helm. And really, my final thing is what I have, like a little bookmark, a metal bookmark, and it says by Winston Churchill, never, never, ever, never give up. I think he just has 3 nevers in there, but there's just, to me, there's just no giving up. People need this. People need this business. People need community. People are desperate for Juice Plus, and they just don't know about it. And so that's our job, and that's what we get paid to do. And I've been blessed with my team. I got to give a huge shout out to just the most amazing people, that they are just my best friends now. And I love what I do. I love Juice Plus. I love my team, and I love all my sidelines. And we all share, and we're all a family. And there's nothing like it. And I don't know how I got so lucky, but I'm blessed.
Well, Jeanette, you're infectious in a good way to other people. I look at you kind of like a lighthouse that attracts people rather than the opposite of that. And you've just been a blessing to Debbie and I, your family. Knowing you guys and being able to call you guys friends has just been a real blessing to us. And I know you've been a blessing to thousands of others around the world as well. So thank you so much for taking time to chat with us this evening a little bit. And tell the family we said hello. Tell George we said hi. And again, we just appreciate you so much. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome. And thank you guys for putting this call on. It's always a great call. But go back and watch Travis if you haven't seen him.
Will do. Yeah, Carrie did a great interview with him, and it is worth watching over and over. So with that, we're going to stop the recording, and we'll get you guys to unmute. And